Hi, this is Jim at the Slipper Room with Bradford Scobie, Sir Richard Castle, and various other characters in this wonderfully naughty burlesque and variety hall downtown New York City. And we have some questions for Bradford about his career, his life, his characters. The first question I have for you. Thinking back to your early years, training and performing in fringe theaters, what experiences or frustrations first pushed you toward inventing these characters like Dr. Donut, Sir Richard Castle, Zombie Ralph, and the rest of your gallery of misfits?
Yes.
So, tell me.
I was driven by insecurity. I was so completely and utterly terrified of the audience that I did two things. I got completely drunk, and I slathered myself in makeup and costumes and cheesy accents and characters. It was armor. If I went out on that stage as Bradford, I would have had a complete and utter nervous breakdown. So yeah, I mean, that's the basic gist of it. I was hiding, and I know there's some sort of, there's some saying like you put the mask on and the mask reveals the person within, kind of I don't know. If I read, I would actually be able to tell you the quote, but that's the gist of it. So putting on the mask, not that I wore masks, but
Disguises or character.
Thank you. In doing so, it empowered me to be my true inner self, although it was still a complete and utter cartoon and not myself at all. So.
Well, you are on stage as Richard Castle, quite cartoony.
He is quite cartoony.
Yes. Which is really delightful. And I read something recently that Dr. Seuss had a big play on your early years.
Oh, yeah.
And how that came about to help you work these characters out.
Yeah, I was obsessed with Dr. Seuss. It's so funny you bring that up. As a child, I would pore over those books, not only visually, but also the wordplay, the rhymes, the nonsensical terminology he would come up with. I found them completely engrossing and enchanting, and looking back, it makes sense because they're very cartoony and yet somehow dangerous. There's something kind of a little scary about them, a little ominous, even a little demonic at times. And so yeah, I can see why as a child I was drawn to that, and I think it did have an influence. Also, I write comedy songs and the wordplay and the rhyming and that whole thing. So that was.
Was there any particular book that was your favorite?
There is a one that springs to mind. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a circus. Yeah. It's probably been discontinued because, those books end up being retrospectively problematic. So, I can't remember the title, but it's about this fantastical circus. If you can dig it up and find it, it's really enchanting.
So, looking at your last 10 years at the Slipper Room, which is quite
10 plus
extraordinary, and related burlesque stages, which nights or productions stand out to you as a turning point for your work in emceeing and creating these comic villains?
A turning point for me was in the very beginning. I was hosting burlesque shows at Slipper Room. This was about 25 years ago, and I was completely terrified, and I was very, very reliant on scripted material. So I would go out on stage and I would just start monologuing because I wanted to feel fully equipped by my jokes, but the audience wasn't having it because I was performing for them as if it were a play. There was somewhat of a fourth wall up, and there was very little audience engagement. And then I saw the legendary Scotty the Blue Bunny perform. and he was just pulling nonsense out of his backside. He was just making it up, and it was just completely unabashedly idiotic, and everyone was gobbling it up. So that was when I realized I need to just throw the script over my shoulder and go out there and actually engage the audience, go with the flow, address issues as they're coming up in the moment, talk to the hecklers, and just start making stuff up on the spot, and it was much more effective than going up there as if I was in a play. You know what I mean?
And that's Richard Castle's stick.
Yeah, it's for the most part.
It's brilliant.
Well, stop. It's for the most part crowd work. Yeah. Yeah.
Many fans know you from specific shows like burlesque nights and holiday specials, and game show formats, and ensemble theater pieces, rather than from your name first, Bradford Scobie. Can you describe some of the most memorable appearances you've made in the last 10 years and how each character functioned differently depending on the venue?
Depending on the... Holy crap. No. Next question. Let's see.
Too much to take in.
Let's see. Well, there was a lot of different characters. I did some stuff at Joe's Pub, which is a marvelous venue. And I did a wildly problematic Thanksgiving special, which gratefully I produced before social media was a thing, and because I would be canceled for sure. But yeah, that was very exciting, and we ended with a mini Macy's Day parade where we all held inflatable figures over our heads and paraded through the audience. I'm not answering your question at all.
Move on to the next question.
All right, thank you. I thank you for having mercy on me.
So just tell me about my favorite character, which is Richard Castle, who performed at my thing here a couple of years ago. It was just absolutely wonderful, and you just busted everybody in the audience up so much. And so, do you like write those lines and you just come up with them on the spot, or your character's so immersed in your personality now that you just come up with stuff like on the spot?
Well, I have a grab bag of jokes that pop into my head depending on the situation, and I do go out fairly cold, but I have an opening monologue-ish that I do, but it's pretty pliable depending on how the audience is reacting, and so even with a monologue, it's not. I don't have it scripted. I am trying to write down my jokes, but for the most part, they're just up in my brain, and so no, that's not reliable. I'm glitching out. I need to update the software, but the jokes. The thing about Slipper Room is a lot of situations present themselves night after night after night. So I do have jokes for those when those moments arise. For example, you can pretty much rely on there being a bachelorette, or you can rely on tourists. And I start asking what countries people are from, and a lot of times they tend to be from the same countries, so I have my go-to jokes about those countries.
Nice.
So then it feels spontaneous, but a lot of it is just sort of in here waiting for that situation.
But you present those wonderful lines with such flair.
Oh, pish posh.
It's not just delivering a line. Come on. Castle's so ingrained, and it's so hysterically on point every time you perform. It's just...
Well, he's very much... I used to do all those different characters. Dr. Donut and Johnny Rooster was my southern character, and
zombie character.
Yeah, Zombie Ralph. He's my Halloween character, but he costs extra too. I can't deal with all that makeup and shit. If you want Zombie Ralph, he needs to cough up a little scratch. But, the novelty acts cost more. But
there you go.
But I reached a point where I was so tired of caking that crap on my face and all that. You know, the past when I was so scared to go up there without the costume, I reached a point where I realized I was not scared and I didn't need to be drunk anymore. It was like an excuse to get drunk. And one day I realized I can do this sober-ish. So I decided, that's why I came up with Sir Richard Castle, because he's very minimal makeup. It's me, but just I add just a little bit, but it's the most, at least visually, me character.
Yeah.
I was like, I just need to do something in a tuxedo and minimal makeup and not be drunk. So that's how I came up with him. So I show up from the neck down in drag, throw some makeup on, and I'm ready to go. None of these bells and whistles and kabuki makeup and all this crap. You know, it's like the Dr. Donut costume. I couldn't even take a piss in that fucking thing. I was like, this is not worth the money. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had any words of wisdom to pass on to the upcoming generation of variety performers, what would they be? You know, from your experience, what would they be?
Well, a big one is don't play to the haters. If someone is not into it, ignore them. There's a real temptation to hone in on that negative energy. Even as a host, if you're talking to people, if there's someone there with their arms crossed, fuck them. And if you're bombing, if the audience hates you, find the one fucking person that's actually enjoying your jokes and play only to them. And hopefully, God willing, it will be infectious. But my big thing is don't play to the haters. Fuck them. Give them the power. Don't let them suck the energy of the room. Most of all, don't give them what they're looking for, which is the negative attention. Ignore them. And if they're a heckler, then you have to use more drastic means to shut them down. I love hecklers, don't get me wrong. There are good hecklers, there are bad hecklers. If you get a bad heckler, sometimes things do have to get drastic. But, you got to do what you got to do. But that's probably the big one.
Bradford, thank you so much for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Bye.